I'm in a good mood because I just got off the phone with the Poor People's Campaign, hosted by the Portland Circle for all of Oregon, and it was a great call, and they're happening every Sunday at 3. So, everybody, Oregon Poor People's Campaign, find it. Yeah. Okay, anyway, so, I'm pretty excited, actually, by that call. That was really heartening. So I told Ernie I didn't think that it was going to work out so well that we were going to go to the grocery store on, say, Monday. Because we're not the only people who hung back until after Easter to go to the store. There's people who just basically maybe did their shopping right before the weekend, or they just were good through Easter and now they're planning on going back on Monday. Why? Because the president had said for weeks, I think we're going to be done by Easter. This is a big sacrifice. This is a hard week. This is a push. And so that is the spirit in which we stayed home, but because God said, duck. He was moving on the earth. That's from my spirit. Now, I talk to people who have lots of different religions or creeds, and so when I talk about my reality, it's like, some people are like, what? Anyway, but that's my reality. It wasn't like, I want you to stay home because this is Holy Week and you can't go shopping, because that's not how it was. This is a predictable movement, but I don't know what's causing it. The prediction that I have goes along with a plot, but that doesn't negate the disease reality. And the disease reality being commandeered for other purposes is something that you feel if you don't watch the narrative and fill in the backstory about why things are moving along faster. So we would predict that the virus would get worse in a way that was unexpected, or that that there would be some kind of other tied or untied situation, like war, or some kind of tax on our system that we didn't expect. But of course you could expect it. You would expect there to be more traffic on video conferencing, and that you would expect there to be supply problems, or problems with people not being at work, but the punitive feeling, I noticed, our governor was asked to come up with a wish list of 5 things, and she shared this. So it was a conference call, kind of like when they shut down the Occupy camp. They shut the Occupy camp down at the same time as many other areas in the West Coast. But they asked people to have local reasons that they would be shut down. So what is your reason for the shutdown? Okay, use that. But that wasn't the reason. The reason was the call from Homeland. So if it's suggested that they have 5 reasons, wishes, needs, and then after she says, okay, I want you to use social distancing, don't coagulate, like, don't have these massive gatherings. We're asking for 25 people to be the cap at this moment. Even less, And then the next day, hey, I said stay 6 feet apart. I couldn't have been more clear. And there's a punitive backfill of the urgency of this. Well, why is that? Because people's reactions were to flood the coast. Like, people are like, wait a minute, we're going to be on lockdown. I'm not going to be able to do this very much longer. I better go to the coast. Or let's have a party and just defy this whole thing. Whatever the attitude is, the people with more means used up their space, used up their freedom in reaction to feeling like this is getting rolled away. And that's natural. So I thought of going to the beach. I thought maybe I shouldn't, and then I didn't. A lot of people maybe thought that they better, or they weren't going to be able to. And they're right. whether or not that was good or not, they didn't need to be slapped so hard. It felt like it was tied to the narrative of everybody's, like the rich kids are flooding the beaches and having defiant parties of like social, like the opposite of social distancing, calling it their, Corona party or whatever. And that defiance is what we're all going to be punished for. Because she couldn't have been more clear. So I called that out and said, look, if you're going to do that, punish your kids. Punish your senators or, their kids. And I say kids, I mean like college. Like who would have a Corona party? And it could be like your coworkers, yourself. Be hard on yourself and your friends if they're not following this, because people of power and people of means need to be the leaders, and you punish the poor people, the people who find it difficult, last. You're going to have a lot of people to go after before you bother poor people about this. So, police yourselves. Go after the people of means. Go after the people in power who are in leadership, who are calling on this for all of us. You first. When you ask us not to gather, when you ask us to observe social distancing, or to do whatever you tighten down on. Except the punitive feeling that I said, we always punish poor people and people of color first. Have you noticed that? When you're trolling the streets for people doing things wrong, you're not going after like the rich neighborhoods. You're not going after your friends. So, what can you predict about Easter? Am I going to go to the store and find that it's stocked and they're ready for a big crowd because everybody after Easter, after they've had to wait because they can't go into the store? So of course there's going to be a lot of people. They asked us to hold off before we did our shopping. It's like, well, we can wait a couple more days because there's probably going to be a big crowd. Will there be a problem? Will it still be there in a couple of days? I think a lot of people would say no. For some reason, I have this feeling like if I don't go on Monday, it's not going to be there for me by Wednesday. There's going to be something that we're going to be told that we did wrong, and therefore, now it's not there. That's how it feels. And by calling it out, by saying, I can predict that you're going to give a punitive feeling for everybody's response to go right after Easter, which is based on what the president asked us to do by saying, buckle down, do your best. He didn't tell me to stay home. He didn't tell me 100% of the time stay home. He just said try hard in this nebulous way to kind of lower your footprint as out there, shopping, being in public. Just keep it calm. It's a sacrifice. We're doing this together. God, on the other hand, said duck. So now I'm curious. Now, what I want to say is I have a neutral feeling about leadership, which is why I pray for them all. But there is a spirit of punishment, and I don't believe that it's coming just from the governor. I don't believe that what she said was necessarily intentionally hurtful. She looked nervous. So this is akin to the Occupy shutdown. And there's something very familiar about this feeling of when the music stops to take a chair and the poor people are left without a chair. That's how it felt at the camp being disbanded, because we were one family, but when we didn't have the camp, we couldn't be one family. And it was easy to just go indoors and say, let's do everything online. Same situation, only as people lose their jobs, we're expecting more people to need to be outside. And we can't judge anyone and say we live in a meritocracy where if you were a good person, you'd be doing well. If we do that, we're in trouble, because then we get judged and we get put into a system that judges you and then decides what you need to fix your deficit, whether it's medicine or some kind of criminal treatment. You don't want to be on the other end of somebody judging you based on how well you're doing. So let's see if this happens.